All right, it's James Davis back out at HP Discover, beautiful Las Vegas. You're really having a questions and conversation with Keenan Sugg. Keenan, if you don't mind, why don't you introduce yourself?
So my name is Keenan Sugg. I'm with Enterprise Solutions and Architecture. It's a pre-sales technical deep dive. So I'm kind of where the rubber meets the road. I do the presentations, but then I have to actually make it work in the customer environment.
Yeah, that's why we got this guy, because we've did all these other conversations around the hardware. We got a guy that's actually on the field, that's actually in the piece. So I get to ask the real question. So let's start off with the difference between HDI and VDI is technology, but from a social angle, when you go into locations and you actually implement this HDI device, what's usually the reactions from most people?
So the reaction is usually very good. What we found is that the very best experience you can possibly deliver with VDI is the floor for Moonshot. So as good as VDI gets, as good as you can make it, that's where Moonshot starts and goes up from there, because we simply can absorb a lot more I/O. You have dedicated hardware, CPU, memory, disk, and I/O, and VDI is a great shared model, but if you need more than that, if you need more scalability, if you need more performance, you need more graphics, Moonshot is a fantastic solution for that.
Got it. Now, I often wonder, whenever you're going into doing these POCs and these engagements, that, what is it that makes them go, you know what, I'm ready to buy on that Moonshot. You've did enough to show me I'm ready to buy on that Moonshot. What do you usually find that is?
It's typically when there's a good test plan. So some people, get the gear and just sort of kick the tires and really don't have a formal plan for what they want to do. The way to make it successful is to, early in the process, figure out, okay, what applications do you want to run? How do you want to architect the system? Let's figure that out, and let's figure out what you're going to compare it to. Because that's always the most important thing. The best ones are where they have an existing VDI, and we can run the same scripted workload against VDI and HDI and crank up that load. And the higher that load gets, VDI tends to fall over and die because it can't absorb the I/O, whereas Moonshot is totally flat.
Got it. Now, you made mention of a tool. Is that like a VSI tool?
So it really depends on the customer engagement, what they want to use for their testing. Some people use just simple VB scripts. Others have some great stuff from HP software for doing load runner type tests.
Got it. So you've been out to multiple locations. What's been the best use case that you have found out there that go, you know what, this must have been what it was made for?
Straight HDI really is the sweet spot. But what I'm finding is the more customers I go to, when we talk about, the original Moonshot server was designed for static web hosting, and the M300 is for dynamic web hosting. What I'm finding is every customer I go to look at the hardware and look at what it's capable of, and they come up with their own solutions. I've got people doing all kinds of interesting stuff, really pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So it's really limited only by your imagination.
Got it. So you actually find more people do a mix of the blades inside?
Not so much a mix of the blades, but a mix of workloads. Totally unexpected stuff. And the futures roadmap for Moonshot is staggering. The amount of cartridges and diversity of cartridges we're going to have. Really, the number of workloads and the number of cases that will work extremely well in Moonshot and extremely economical is really going to expand over the next 6 months, 12 months.
Cool.
Not to mention what's already here today.
Cool. Real quick last question for you. Now, as you're implementing this, let's say it's in a Citrix environment, if you will, how long, and this is a general question, how long does it usually take you?
Well,
and don't worry, you won't have to stand by it.
True engineering, I have to say it depends. Now, that said, if you have things properly set up and you've done your pre-planning appropriately, most of the work is just standing up the very first node. And especially in a Citrix environment, especially if you're using PVS and Zen Desktop, we were able to spool it up actually at Citrix, if I'm allowed to say that, where once we built the first node and got it tweaked the way we wanted, they captured it with PVS, which is a remote shared image solution. We then booted up the other 179 nodes in that chassis, just like that.
That is amazing.
Even they sat back and said, damn.
That is amazing. I love that. I love that. Thank you.
That was a wow moment.
Thank you, Keenan.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely great.